This chocolate cheesecake is rich in chocolate flavor, creamy and almost fudge-like from all the chocolate in it. It's easy to make, delicious to eat, and I'm sure it will become an instant classic. Hi, I'm Lindsay from Life, Love, and Sugar, and today we're making a chocolate cheesecake. So to get started, we're going to make our crust. It's a chocolate Oreo crust, so you want to use your Oreo crumbs and some melted butter. We're going to mix this together. I have a 9-inch springform pan. It is sprayed with nonstick baking spray, and I'm going to add a parchment round in the bottom. This will help our cheesecake not stick when we want to remove it from the pan after baking it. I like to spread the crumbs around evenly in the pan. I often like to use a cup that has a nice little corner here to help with nice corners on my cheesecake and straight edges. Okay, so now that we have our crust prepared, we're going to bake this in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes. Alright, so while your crust is baking, you can get started on your filling. We're going to start with room temperature cream cheese. I'm going to add our cocoa powder and some sugar. Alright, we'll pop this on our mixer and mix it all together until it's nice and smooth and creamy. Alright, so next we have our sour cream. We've got some vanilla extract. We also have a little bit of espresso powder that can help enhance the chocolate flavor. So now we're going to add our melted chocolate. I like to add it a little bit at a time just to make sure that it's incorporated properly without getting little bits of chocolate. You want it to really be kind of nice and smooth and creamy in there. I also like to try to keep it from being poured in on the bowl because it's a little bit cooler and it'll tend to cool the chocolate more quickly and you'll be more likely to end up with chunks of chocolate. So I try to pour it directly into the cream cheese mixture a little bit at a time. All right, we'll go ahead and add our first egg. Now we can add this to our crust. And as I mentioned before, this is almost fudge-like from all the chocolate in here. So it's not as thin as some cheesecake batters, so you're gonna need to come in here and spread it out. Spread it evenly. Now we're gonna set up for a water bath. There are lots of different ways to accomplish that. Aluminum foil is the most common. Lately I've been really liking this silicone pan. I can just set my springform pan right inside, and then I set the silicone pan inside my larger pan. So you only want to add water up to about halfway up your pan. If you were using foil, you'd only want to add to halfway up the side of the foil. If you add too much, the water can kind of boil and bubble a little while it's baking, and then when it does that, it can kind of pop over the side of your foil or the silicone pan. So you only want to get about halfway up. Alright, so now we're all set. We can pop our cheesecake in the oven. It'll bake for about an hour and 20 minutes, and then we can do the cooling process. Alright, so once your cheesecake has baked and cooled and is nice and firm, we can go ahead and remove it from the springform pan and put it on a serving platter. And because we put that parchment paper underneath it before, it should be pretty easy to slide off of the bottom of our pan. Just loosen it up a little bit. It should be firm enough that you can just hold it right in your hand, and then we can peel the parchment paper right off. And now we'll set this on the platter. All right, and now we can set our cheesecake aside while we make our chocolate ganache for on top. All right, so to make our chocolate ganache, we're gonna grab our chopped chocolate and our hot heavy cream and combine those. And we'll let that sit for a few minutes to soften up the chocolate, and then we'll stir it all together. All right, so once that's nice and smooth, we can add that to the top of our cheesecake. All right, now we can set this aside and let the ganache cool up a little bit while we make our chocolate whipped cream. We are going to use our cold, heavy whipping cream, powdered sugar, some cocoa powder, and vanilla extract. We're going to pop this on our mixer and whip it until we get stiff peaks. It will actually thicken and get stiff very quickly, so keep an eye on it. All right, so you should have it nice and stiff. All right, so now we can add our whipped cream to a piping bag fitted with a piping tip. I'm using the Ateco 847. Now we'll pipe pipe this onto our cheesecake. And if you'd like one more finishing touch, because why not? We can put a little shaved chocolate. It's just a vegetable peeler in the side of a chocolate baking bar. And there you have it, your chocolate cheesecake. It's beautiful, it's rich, it's creamy, kind of fudgy from all the chocolate. You are going to love it. For the full recipe, head over to lifeloveandsugar.com.